The Red Dirt D&D podcast is brought to you by Pro Laser Cuts. The Oklahoma company provides pre-made and customizable design laser-cut dice towers, tokens, and more developed by a gamer for gamers and now available to enhance your tabletop game. Pro Laser Cuts products can be found at many Oklahoma City area game stores, local events, and now available online at prolasercuts.com. That's laser and cuts with a Z, Pro Laser Cuts. Welcome to Red Dirt D&D. I'm Michael Cross, and I play Gideon Block, a paladin with a tragic past.
I'm Kiri Hester, and I play Poppy Tealeaf, a Habbo and Halfling druid searching for a new life.
I'm Johnny Payne, and I play Xonimus, a half-elf rogue with a past he can't seem to escape.
I'm Brooke Bullock, and I play Mak'ren Stoneshaper, a young dwarf sorcerer setting out to understand his own arcane gifts.
And I'm Ash King, your dungeon master. Join us now for Tales from the Caliban Frontier. In the small chapel of the last stop, silence fills the air. Gideon, you've been on your knees for a couple hours now. Not been the easiest thing that you've ever done, but it's far from the worst. You're struggling just somewhat to even stay awake as you mull over the oath. Many visions come to your mind as you're inhaling this smoke and in a half-awake, meditative daze. The day your mother walked away. That night when she came to you in your bed, caressed your hair for the last time, leaned down and spoke very gently in Elven. Your way is not always my way, but we sleep under the same stars. And you were a child, you were half asleep, you didn't understand. The next morning you got up, your father was puttering around the kitchen, a little more despondent than usual. What were you feeling?
I can remember myself walking in. I said, Papa, where's Mama gone?
She's off on one of her adventures, boy. You know how she gets.
Well, yeah, she's been gone before, but she's coming back, right?
If the wind ever blows her this way again. He's kind of stirring his coffee a little more.
Well, last time she said she'd take me with her to go out into the wilderness.
I don't think so, boy.
Why not?
Maybe you're just not elven enough for her.
And I remember that hurt, because I loved the ideas of the elven people, the wild elves, how they were free to roam. I wanted to be that. I didn't want to be stuck here with my pa just working the land, just outside of Zison. I wanted to be free, and I knew even then she wasn't going to come back. She wasn't going to take me with her because she was embarrassed by me and how much I looked so human.
And you waited. Every day you asked, did she come back? And every day the answer was the same. No, boy. The wind hasn't changed directions yet. Until one day, you stopped asking. But many years later, it was your turn. You were tired of that humdrum, that always stuck in one place, rising with the dawn, taking care of the animals, mucking out the stables, day in, day out. Your father seemed to enjoy it, seemed to take some comfort in the repetitive nature of the work. But you couldn't stand it 1 second longer.
I remember walking up to him and saying, Pa, you know, you're getting ready to maybe sell this place, and you're going to make quite a fine living and retire just fine off this, but I got to get out. I got to see the world. I don't want to be stuck here in this backwards place that I don't see anybody else. I just wanted to see the world. I want to see Venturis. I want to get out. I want to know I can go and you and I end this on a peaceful way.
He looks down at the worn kitchen table where the two of you have shared many a meal over the years. his face so weather-worn. He looks twice as old as he actually is. And you've almost never realized that age until this moment, as he just shakes his head and, "Then go, boy. I can't stop you. Nothing I said has seemed to penetrate that skull of yours. Go, follow that wind. See where it leads you. That's all I can say. Couldn't stop her, I can't stop you."
I don't want us to go away mad at each other. Tell you what, how about we have one final drink together?
I could do that.
And I go and I grab his favorite whiskey and I set it down in front of us. And I pour a shot for him. I pour a shot for me. And I say, "Pa, could I just have your blessing before I leave?" And I hold up my shot.
He doesn't say anything, because for him, there's nothing else to say. He lifts up his shot glass and salutes you and just nods. Go.
Thank you, Pa.
But you walked away, and he sold the farm. You know, he wrote to you several times out in Venturis, letting you know what was going on, Zison, who had bought the farm, and how successful it had become. But you had your own life to live. You found your own love, that beautiful woman. You remember that smile, that enchanting smile, that as soon as you saw it, you knew. And how excited the two of you were, and how happy Caleb made you both. But then Felix Holman, the man who destroyed everything. If he and his boys were here before you now, what would you do? Poppy, out in the wilderness of the last stop, you begin to inhale this pungent smoke. Not quite sure at first what's going on. And something happening? Am I supposed to be feeling something? You feel the warmth of the earth underneath you that has been sun-baked over the day. And all of a sudden, there's a shift. You don't just feel the earth. It's like you can hear it, see it, sense it. And as you're kind of following this feeling, it starts to flare out in this web. And it's like you can sense everything. The gentle presence of a desert mouse catches your attention. It's the most vibrant thing that you can connect to. And you know, it's just this small little creature that's emerging from its burrow, cleaning off its nose and ears as it wakes up for the evening. And it's not just that you sense this mouse and sense what it's doing. It's almost like, am I the mouse? And you have that thought that I'm hungry. What do I want to eat? There's some berries over that way, and but then there's that tasty grain stalks over the other way. Wait a sec. And then your system starts to bleed into anxiety. And it's just, what is that? What's nearby? What's going on? You gotta get out of here! Let's go! And you and the mouse take off. And the mouse is just booking. You have no idea what's going on. You don't know what's chasing it. You don't know what's chasing you. Everything is just swirling in your head. It's holy crap. And your heart starts to race. Faster. You gotta get away. You gotta go. Go. Suddenly, tightness. You're trapped. You're trapped. I'm trapped in a corset, sitting at a dining room table. In front of you is a fine china plate, gleaming silverware to the left and to the right. All the proper placements for dinner. The soup course has just finished. A servant takes your bowl away as another comes around and carefully fills each glass with the individual's preferred beverage. Sitting at the head of the table, to your left, is your father, Aster Tealeaf. fine halfling gentleman, well dressed for tonight's dinner. Across from him is Margot, your mother. She very daintily patting away the last remnants of the soup course with her napkin before placing it gently into her lap. And across from you is that horrible boy, Byron Sweetgum.
I feel frustrated because I am being actively ignored while Byron and my dad talk about sugar and tea and...
Ah, yes, the proper procedure for a proper cup of sweet tea. It's just, you just got, it's about the timing, about the ratio, and they're going on and on and on, to the point you've almost, like, completely zoned out.
For sure. And I've known Byron for my life. He's a few years older than me. And I try to catch his eye and get him to look at me. He's not looking at me. And I feel very trapped. So I'm probably, my hands are very sweaty, wrapped up in my napkin in my lap, just looking down at my plate, being quiet like I have been told, and thinking about my oasis, my corner of the garden where I was just sitting out there this afternoon before I got roped into this dinner. So I'm just occupying my thoughts with that while they prattle on about that, this and that other thing.
So your mother kind of gently catches your eye, just motions for you. Smile, Poppy. It'll be pleasant. We have guests. As the next course of the meal comes around, and it's just the same old. Use the right fork, Poppy. Don't chew with your mouth open, Poppy. Take smaller bites. You want to be dainty.
Now my thoughts have shifted to the just hours and hours of studying music and studying needlepoint and making sure that you have the tiniest stitches and being shuffled from one tutor and one governess and one side of the house to the other side of the house, but never getting to leave the house, and this magnificently beautiful and well-furnished prison, and the wall outside, and the grass, and the trees, and just the wilderness of the forest and the garden, always just out of reach. Never quite get there, can never quite get over the wall. But I smile, like I've been told.
Byron, very elegantly and well thought out, picks up his glass of, this fine red wine. Master Tealeaf, I wish you such long life and such finery always. Your family is quite the name to live up to, quite the opportunity makers for all halflings. It is such a pleasure and such an honor to be here tonight. I cannot wait for whatever further lies down the road. He toasts to your father and then to your mother and then almost as a courtesy to you before, he and Asta drink very deeply, and your mother, very demurely takes just a sip, just enough.
And I caught that. I've lived in high society long enough to know that things don't mean what they say they mean. So now the gears in my brain are turning, trying to figure out exactly what Byron is talking about, and the ruffles on my sleeves become very itchy at about this same moment. And so I've been fidgeting and scratching while I'm thinking about this, and then I just am very confused. I feel like I don't know what's going on because I never know what's going on. And I just resign myself to that and smile and hold up my water. Nobody noticed, but held it up.
After the final dessert course goes around, Byron and your father retire to the sitting room to discuss further business and further trade opportunities, and your mother escorts you to the parlor where the two of you can speak privately, and well, I thought that went very well.
I mean, I guess it's just a dinner. All dinners go fine.
Just a dinner, Poppy?
Yeah. We have dinner every night.
Yes, but not every night do we have a fine, upstanding young gentleman like Byron Sweetgum in the house.
It's just Byron.
Just Byron.
Yeah, it's just Byron, and I mean, kind of a snooty dude.
What a thing to say about your fiancé.
What? That's not what... What? And my heart simultaneously stops and races, and I'm fidgeting with my sleeves again. They're very itchy. I'm finding it very hard to breathe. I don't quite... When was I going to be asked about this? When was this decided?
Well, your father has been speaking with the Sweetgums for quite some time. He's a fine, upstanding young man, Poppy. You could do very well with him.
Father could do very well with him. Byron's always been mean to me.
Now, that was just teasing. That's just what boys do.
It's pushing somebody down the stairs ain't teasing. That's just mean.
Oh, that was just an accident. He didn't mean it.
Accident, my
Poppy, don't be rude.
This has always been the plan. This has always been the plan.
Now, settle down. It's all right.
That's why I spend 3 weeks every summer in Ocasas at the Manor House of Terror and Horror. I've been going there every summer since I was 3 because this has always been your plan.
Well, Poppy, you must realize the family's future lies on your shoulders, girl. You're the only one.
No, the family's futures don't lie on my shoulders. They lie on my wedding ring. I will never get to run this company. This will be Byron's company after his father's company.
That'll leave you more time to
stare at the walls and contemplate my existence.
Well, you're a fine young lady. Your music, your little excursions outside. I was a little worried about that. You've definitely lost some of that fine pallor that we have been attempting to cultivate. But there's nothing a little makeup can't fix.
May I be excused? I would like to go to bed now.
I'm sure that the excitement has got you all in a tizzy.
You're exactly right. I just need to be alone and cool down, and I'm sure I'll feel right better about this tomorrow.
All right. Well, good night, my sweet. You go get some rest, and I'll give your regards to Byron, and we'll talk more in the morning when you're a little clearer headed.
And I walk off, mumbling under my breath about where Byron could shove that engagement. But I'm mumbling it to myself.
Saying your mother, she gives you that kiss goodnight on your cheek, and it's, it's all automatic at this point. And you push away from her very quickly, your skirts ruffling, so you march yourself up the stairs to your bedroom. And as soon as you get to that room, you're just loosening up that corset as best you can to just wriggle on out of it and take the first real breath that you've had all evening. You've got some things to think about.
Howdy friends, Michael Cross here, taking just a few moments away from Red Dirt DnD, asking you to become a patron of this podcast. Your support means we can add a lot of extra niceties to the show in the form of artwork and music, as well as supporting our cast and crew. Patrons get early access to content as well as bonus material, along with access to our Discord server. You can even get an invite to monthly Q&A sessions and DM classes, maybe even a 2-hour game session with our very own Dungeon Master, Ash King. We have 6 different monthly levels to choose, ranging from $5 to $100. Head over to patreon.com/reddirtdnd right now to show your support for this new podcast. Now, back to Tales from the Caliban Frontier.
Mak'ren, you've made your way back to the Long Rest Hotel with Alyssa. And even though you're surrounded by... There's a crowd of people here, and it's not too raucous. It's definitely awake. Some of them are sharing some drinks, they're sharing food, but you're definitely feeling the outsider in this situation. You didn't know Thomas, and Alyssa, as soon as she's among these people that she's obviously known her entire life, she's flitting about, playing the hostess, very much in her element. You can't help but think about another time that you were in such a crowded room. the proving ceremony.
Okay.
Your mind is immediately drawn back to that moment that quite literally changed your life. You are among a large group of dwarves. This is the event of the year. It's almost a combination of final exams plus graduation. Mm-hmm. Those that prove themselves here go on to be the masters of stone shaping. It's a big theater in the round. So the candidates are all on the auditorium floor. Each has their own workbench, and all of them are very zoned in to their task and working very, very diligently. The dwarves in the audience are all very silent, very respectful. You can hear, the gentle noises of the tools as these candidates are working on their projects, and they're setting down a hammer or they're setting down a pair of calipers. You could hear a pin drop, basically, and you are hearing pins drop, but it's definitely that noise of everyone is focused, everyone is doing what they're supposed to be doing. And one of the dwarves who is doing this examination is walking down the rows, looking at everyone's work, pausing every so often, when something really catches their eye. But they lift their head up and, "Candidates, you have 2 minutes remaining."
So I'm there at one of the workbenches with these other folks, and at the backside of my hand, I wipe a bead of sweat off my brow, and he's wearing, again, kind of this formal shirt that has the kind of the bell sleeves at the end or whatever, but also a leather gem worker's apron that has little tools in the pockets in front, so you can easily do that. But you can tell that this is, if you do this, you're taking the leather worker apron off, and then you're already dressed for the ceremony. It's going to be a formal,
very
thing.
Formal affair.
Okay, good. He wipes his sweat from his brow and looks down at this brilliant blue sapphire that's in his hand. And he smiles with just a little touch of confidence. And I lean a little bit closer to the stone and I whisper to it. I say, "It's beautiful. Now we just need the sigil. Where should I put it?" I hold my hands on the stone for a moment and turn it over slowly. "Here, that's a good spot. Oh, thank you. Thank you." Then, like a cascade of sand kind of falling down a hill or whatever, this unknown language just kind of barely bubbles over the edge of Mak'ren's lips, and there's this little greenish sheen that bubbles up on the tip of his index finger, and I etch the Stoneshaper mark into the stone, and it's there. It's just fantastic. I steal a glance to the left and the right, out of the corner of my eye, to see how everyone else is doing, what's going on.
And you see, they're all, some of them look a little more worried, some of them look a little more confident, but no one quite as confident as you as they're working these very last few intricate details. And you hear the examiner just, "Candidates, 1 minute remaining."
I feel this pride begin to well up a little bit. I whisper to the stone, we did it. Yours perfect, and we're gonna finish first. I'm so proud of you. We did it. We did it right. And this sense of satisfaction begins to build up and almost becomes triumph. And I widen my feet a little bit in my stance. I'm getting ready. I'm going to be able to hoist this beautiful stone up. When he calls time, I'm going to be able to be like, "Here it is." So I'm just really ready. I take a couple calming breaths. I just try to connect, and I thank the Princess of the Forge. I just feel the connection to the stone. I'm ready.
And you do hear, that chime of time starts to ring out. 1 bong, 2 bongs, 3. Crafters, present.
Just as soon as he does that, I just push this stone up into the air. I'm like Lion King style, it's like, ta-da! But then it happens, I feel it suddenly coming from under the earth, and I can't stop it. And then there's this wave of thunderous, uncontrolled energy that just rushes up into him and then just goes poof out, like in cascading circles of energy. And it just explodes outward, tables and tools and maybe even fellow candidates or a nearby judge just get boom slammed into the walls.
This just huge wave
Yes.
of energy just wells up through you, and you're not sure, am I a conduit for this? Am I creating this? What's going on here? And just boom. There's that moment where, you know, that shock wave of just everyone kind of getting jostled out of the way, tools and things getting jostled. Then the cackling starts, and you hear these little voices just oh no. What have you done? Jubilee has started working fairly quickly on this design. This is old school tattooing. You know, the skin is being poked and prodded very quickly, efficiently, but painfully, as, you know, they are creating these scars and gouges in your skin. This is probably the first time you've gone under the needle since leaving the Black Smoke Gang.
Yes.
And
I haven't had enough whiskey from this bottle yet, so I pull the hat down over my face to hide any wincing. I'm stretched out, laid out on the chair, my feet propped up on the table.
you really can't help but think back to what that was like. That last heist before everything went sideways. It was a stagecoach. Very little resistance. Almost too easy. They had but a single gunman riding shotgun. How could they have ever imagined that would provide protection against the likes of you? You remember watching Wiley as he chuckles, takes a few steps back, and lowers the gun at the unlucky businessman who thought he could make this trip worthwhile. Oh dear, Zani, what should we do with this one? Does he deserve to keep his sorry life, trying to come out into our frontier and make a name for himself?
Let's leave it up to fate. I'll pull out my deck of cards.
I do love the way you think.
And I'll slide the top one off.
Oh no.
Just let it face Wiley.
I'm so sorry. Fate is not on your side today. And he pulls the trigger.
When he does, and the man falls to dirt, I'll shrug and say, better luck next time, and flip the card over and look at it. Look at Wiley. Hey, wait a minute. Were you going high or low?
I just did what felt right.
I'll toss the card on the ground.
He saunters back towards where, you and the boys are dividing up the loot, and he just gently reaches up to just caress the side of your cheek as he walks over to his horse, holstering his gun. He's in no hurry at all. It's been good since the two of you took over. He's made you his equal partner in leadership. I tell you what, Zani. Ever since we sent old Josiah off to his meeting with Dusk, things have been looking in our favor. The only thing that I could imagine making this better would be a nice little hiding spot. What do you think?
For the whole gang, or just us, huh?
I'm thinking of a place. If you're willing to investigate it with me, and we could make a decision then, as far as if we should invite anyone else to know where we're gonna stash.
Something tells me you already got a place in mind.
He just gives you that wicked smile that you've always known him for.
Alright, let's go send the boys back to town with this loot. Maybe you and I can make it wherever we're going before sundown.
It's not too far. Boys! He kind of looks out to the rest of the gang. Take yourselves into town. Don't cause too much trouble without us. Zani and I are gonna go researching for our next endeavor. And the boys quickly mount up. They throw a sack towards the two of you. It's your take from today's raid. And they head off into town, leaving the two of you to head off wherever you're going. What do you think? You think they're worth it?
They don't give us much pushback.
I think we got the best ones. Josiah was a poor manager. It was almost too easy.
None of them are too lazy, none of them are too eager. I think we got the sweet spot right now. Life is good, Wiley.
Surely it is. Better than what we had before.
Yeah. Now that you and I are up here, we don't have to deal with any of that.
No one telling us what to do, how to be, where to go. No one disapproving. I like it.
Make a good team.
It's always rare to find someone you can trust, someone you can rely on, especially with the type of life we live.
I'm going to be a little naive and say, you're absolutely right. And I trust every one of our gang.
Good. Well, best be on our way. Get yourself up on that horse. Race you to the next mesa.
Oh, really?
Oh, surely.
I'll jump on my horse. I'll ride up beside him. And I'll look over at him. And I'll say, are you ready?
Always.
Then go. And I'm whipping the horse.
Yeah, he very quickly swings up into the saddle and spurs his horse on, and the two of you take off. Twin streaks of lightning across the desert. Sand being kicked up by these horses' hooves, and you're pushing them, as fast as they can go. Wiley is just laughing his fool head off. He's having a great old time. Life is good, but things change. Sometimes when you least expect them.
Red Dirt D&D, Tales from the Caliban Frontier, is Ash King as our Dungeon Master, Brooke Bullock as Mak'ren Stoneshaper, Johnny Payne as Xonimus Dinar, Kiri Hester as Poppy Tealeaf, and I'm Michael Cross as Gideon Block. Our sound producer is Mark Coffrin. Our theme music was created by the cinemagician P.J. Castillo. Our incidental music comes from Jeffrey McBride. Our sound effects and additional music courtesy of tabletopaudio.com. We here at Red Dirt D&D could really use your help in getting the word out about us. If you like what you've heard, make sure and subscribe, rate us, and leave a comment. Also, tell your friends about Red Dirt D&D and share us on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and reddirtdnd.com. You can also support the show at patreon.com/reddirtdnd. We have several giving levels to help us grow up big and strong. Join us next time as we go deeper into the Caliban Frontier.